What if the first being God ever created was not Adam, but Lucifer? This isn't heresy, it's the ancient truth buried beneath Genesis. For millennia, they hid this from you because it rewrites everything. The fall, the serpent, your very origin. You were made for this revelation. Stay. What you're about to hear will shatter your world and remake your faith. The evidence survived. They didn't want you to know. But now, you stand at the threshold. Right now, you're entering a story they tried to erase. Picture this: before light pierced the void, before stars were named, before Adam drew breath, God fashioned a being of pure radiance. Lucifer, the firstborn of creation. Not as the enemy you've been taught, but as the morning star, the archangel of dawn. This truth was scrubbed from Genesis, hidden in coded verses, buried by councils who feared what it meant. If Lucifer came first, then the fall wasn't an accident. It was a prelude. Your soul aches for this, doesn't it? That gap in the narrative where something monumental is missing. Today, we rip open that gap, because the first light was Lucifer. And that changes everything. They hid this from you. But scrolls survived. Witnesses whispered. Mystics preserved fragments in shadow. You're about to see the blueprint of heaven, and it's nothing like you imagined. If something in you recognizes this truth, and you want more revelations like this, leave a comment and stay with this story until the end. Your reaction tells me to keep opening these doors for you. Now, the veil tears. What comes next will shock you. To understand why Lucifer was first, you must step into the cosmos before time, not emptiness. A silent, swirling potential where God's voice alone echoed. This is the hidden context, the divine workshop where angels were forged. Imagine a realm without form, yet thrumming with intention. You're there, witnessing the birth of hierarchies. Cherubim, seraphim, thrones all later, but first, from the raw essence of glory, Lucifer emerges. The seal of perfection, full of wisdom and beauty. Ezekiel 28 hints at it, but centuries of preaching softened the blow. Why? Because if Lucifer is the prototype, then humanity is not the centerpiece. We are the aftermath. The stakes here are cosmic. God didn't just create, he engineered a test. Lucifer, as firstborn, held the keys to the kingdom. He was the steward of light before the sun existed. His purpose: to mirror divine love freely. But freedom carries a shadow. You feel the tension building, don't you? A perfect being in a perfect realm with a perfect choice, and that choice is coming. But first, you need to see the architecture he was meant to guard, the invisible structures of heaven that his fall would rupture. Stay close. The real story is about to unfold. Heaven's invisible architecture, a celestial city built on layers of light and song. You're standing in it now, in your mind's eye. 7 heavens, each a domain of angelic choirs. At the summit, the throne, and just below, the holy mountain where Lucifer dwelt. He wasn't just an angel, he was the guardian cherub, the one who walked among stones of fire. This is the order they don't teach. Creation followed a blueprint, and Lucifer was its cornerstone. His role: to mediate worship, to channel the first rays of divine presence to lesser beings. He was the bridge between God and creation. But here's the scandal. This architecture required obedience. Lucifer's light was borrowed, reflected. He was made to point beyond himself, yet as firstborn he tasted autonomy. The ancient texts whisper of his splendor, gemstones adorning him, music in his wings. But splendor breeds pride. Can you sense the coming fracture? A being designed to serve, suddenly aware of his own glory. The heavenly courts held their breath. Because if the first fell, what would it mean for those after? The structure itself was at risk. They hid this from you because it reveals a flaw in the plan. Or was it part of the plan all along? The evidence survived. And now, you're about to witness the rupture that rewrites Genesis. The rupture. It wasn't a slow decay, but a lightning strike across heaven. Lucifer, the first light, looked into his own radiance and said, I will ascend. I will be like the Most High. I will usurp the throne. You can hear the silence shatter, can't you? The moment pride crystallized into rebellion. 1/3 of the angels, mesmerized by his brilliance, followed. This is the fall that Genesis glosses over the war in heaven that predates Eden. The Book of Enoch reveals it. Battles of fire and shadow, Michael leading the loyal hosts, Lucifer cast down. But why does this matter? Because if Lucifer fell before Adam was formed, then the serpent in Eden wasn't a random tempter. It was a calculated move by a deposed king seeking revenge. The garden was never pristine. It was a battlefield from day one. You were made for this truth. It explains the venom in the snake's words, the ease of Eve's deception. Lucifer, once God's favorite, now corrupter of God's new favorites. His firstborn status gave him knowledge of divine plans, of human weakness. He used it. Feel the weight? This isn't just angelic drama. It's the reason evil feels personal, ancient. They hid this from you to simplify the story, but simplicity is a lie. The aftermath is where the real horror begins, and it's coming for you next. Aftermath. Lucifer's fall didn't end with his expulsion. It rippled through creation like a crack in glass. Picture the cosmos reeling, chaos seeping into the void, earth formless and empty, not by design, but by collateral damage. Genesis 1:2, the earth was waste and void. The Hebrew whispers of ruin. This is the devastation most miss. God didn't create chaos. He found it after the angelic war. Lucifer's rebellion scarred the very fabric of reality. And then God begins again. Let there be light, a second light after the first light went dark. The sun, moon, stars are replacements. Humanity, Adam and Eve, are plan B. You're hearing this, and it stings, doesn't it? We are not the original masterpiece. We are the redemption project. The garden was a sanctuary built on wreckage. Lucifer, now Satan, slithers in with a mission. Corrupt this new creation as he corrupted himself. He knows the blueprint because he was there at the start. He knows God's voice because he once sang it. This is why the fall of man happens so fast. It wasn't innocence meeting evil. It was a targeted assault by a seasoned adversary. They hid this from you to protect divine omnipotence. But the evidence survived in apocryphal size, and now you see the truth. Your struggle with sin isn't random. It's the aftershock of the first rebellion. But wait, there's testimony that proves all this, and it's been waiting for you. Primary evidence. It's buried in your Bible, in plain sight but veiled by tradition. Open Ezekiel 28:12-19. You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God. This is not about a human king. It's Lucifer. The prophet speaks of a cherub anointed, blameless until iniquity was found. Isaiah 14:12-15, how you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. Morning star, Lucifer. These passages are leaks from the divine record, snippets of the true story edited into royal lament. But why were they left? As clues. For you were made for this truth. Scholars have debated for centuries, but the early church fathers knew. Origen, Jerome, they whispered of Lucifer's primacy. Yet by the 4th century, councils began to sanitize. Because if Lucifer was first, then God's plan includes failure from the outset. That's a theological bomb. But the evidence didn't die. It migrated to hidden scrolls, to desert caves. The Dead Sea Scrolls hint at it. Gnostic Gospels scream it. They hid this from you, but the words bled through. Now you're holding the pieces, and the next piece is even more explosive, the forbidden books that fill the gaps. Stay with me. What you're about to read was banned for a reason. Hidden testimony, the books of Enoch apocryphal, suppressed yet quoted by Jude in the New Testament. Here, the story explodes. Enoch, taken to heaven, witnesses the prehistory, the Watchers, fallen angels, and their leader often linked to Lucifer. But deeper, the Book of the Secrets of Enoch says it plainly. God created angels first, and the first among them was Satanila, name for Lucifer. He was set over all, but pride consumed him. This isn't metaphor. It's testimony from a man who walked with God. These texts were banned by early councils, burned, labeled heretical. Why? Because they detail the celestial hierarchy, the war, the corruption of earth. They show Lucifer as the architect of chaos. The Gospel of Judas from the Nag Hammadi library adds another layer. Lucifer's rebellion was a necessary rebellion, a divine drama to catalyze human awakening. Whether you believe that or not, the point is clear. Multiple streams of ancient witness agree. Lucifer was first. They hid this from you to control the narrative. But mystics copied these texts in secret, passing them hand to hand, risking exile or death. The evidence survived because souls like yours craved the whole story. You feel that craving, don't you? It's why you're here. And now you're about to meet the keepers who preserved this fire through the dark ages. The keepers. Who guarded this forbidden truth when empires fell and churches burned books? Picture desert monks in Egyptian caves, hiding codices in clay jars. Medieval mystics like Meister Eckhart, writing in coded allegory about the first light. Kabbalists in Spain, mapping the tree of life with Lucifer as the shattered vessel. Alchemists in Europe, seeking the lost light in their crucibles. These weren't heretics. They were devotees who refused to let the full story die. They understood. To know God, you must know the whole story, even the dark chapters. You were made for this truth. Their lineages passed down oral traditions, secret manuscripts, symbols in cathedrals that hint at Lucifer's primacy. The Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland, the frescoes in ancient monasteries, all whispering what was erased. They hid this from you, but the keepers whispered back. Why did they risk everything? Because they believed that without this knowledge, faith is a prison. That without understanding the first fall, you cannot understand your own. If you feel that you were made for this kind of hidden truth, write in the comments what most shook you so far and share this video with one person who also hungers for more. Your voice helps this buried story reach the ones who need it. Now, the plot thickens. Centuries later, archaeologists would stumble upon proof that vindicates the keepers. And what they found will rewrite your Bible. Modern discovery. 1945, Nag Hammadi, Egypt. A farmer digs up a jar and out spill papyrus texts that hadn't been seen for 1600 years. Among them the Gospel of Thomas, the Apocryphon of John, texts that speak of celestial realms, and the first Archon, often tied to Lucifer. 1947, the Dead Sea Scrolls in Qumran, fragments that echo Enoch, that describe angelic conflicts before Genesis. Scholars pieced it together, a vast, interconnected narrative where Lucifer's creation first is implicit. Dr. Margaret Barker, a theologian, argues that early Israelite religion included a story of a fallen first angel, later suppressed. The evidence survived in shards, but when assembled, it forms a mosaic that contradicts Sunday school. They hid this from you, but science is now uncovering it. Carbon dating, linguistic analysis, all pointing to a consensus. The Genesis we have is an edited version. The original was richer, darker, more complex. Lucifer's role was central. You're living in a time when these secrets are resurfacing. Why now? Because perhaps humanity is ready, or perhaps because you, listening, are part of a generation meant to reconcile this truth. The deeper truth, though, is not just historical, it's theological, and it will redefine your relationship with the divine. Don't go anywhere. The next revelation changes everything. The deeper truth. Why did God create Lucifer first? Not as a mistake, but as a necessary catalyst. Think of it. A universe without free will is a puppet show. Lucifer, as firstborn, was the test case for autonomy. His fall demonstrated the cost of pride, yes, but also the inevitability of choice in a loving creation. This truth rewrites Genesis because it shows that evil wasn't an afterthought. It was woven into the fabric from the beginning. God, in his omniscience, knew the risk. But love requires risk. Lucifer's light was meant to illuminate that very paradox. You were made for this truth. It means your struggles aren't accidental. They're part of a cosmic drama that started with the morning star. Your faith isn't about avoiding fall, but about rising after it, just as God's plan did with humanity after Lucifer. This isn't heresy, it's a deeper orthodoxy that early Christians knew. They hid this from you to simplify salvation, but in doing so, they made God smaller. The evidence survived to remind you. Divinity is vast enough to include failure and redemption on a celestial scale. Your soul senses this, doesn't it? That the story of Lucifer is also your story of light, choice, and potential fall. But here's the urgent part. This truth calls you to something. Your personal stake in this ancient drama is about to become clear. Your calling. This isn't just history, it's your spiritual DNA. If Lucifer was first, then you, as human, inherit a world shaped by his rebellion. But also, you inherit the chance to choose differently. You were made for this truth because it empowers you. No longer a pawn in a predestined play, but a conscious participant in a redemption arc that spans eons. Your doubts, your temptations, they echo that first choice in heaven. Understanding this changes everything. It means your faith can be raw, real, unafraid of dark questions. Why did God allow evil? Because he allowed freedom first to Lucifer and now to you. They hid this from you to keep you docile, but the evidence survived to wake you up. You're hearing this because you're ready to bear the weight of divine mystery. This truth rewrites Genesis for you personally. You're not just created from dust, you're created in the shadow of a fallen angel, with the light of a second chance. Your calling is to embrace that light, to seek the whole story, and to live without fear of the gaps, because the gaps are where God's deepest work happens. But don't think it ends here. Physical traces of this story exist, ruins, artifacts that prove it's real. And they're waiting for you to acknowledge them. The journey isn't over, it's becoming tangible, physical traces. Across the globe, archaeology whispers secrets. In Turkey, the ruins of Bekli Tepe'e, 12,000-year-old temple, with carvings that some interpret as celestial beings, perhaps echoing angelic wars. In Mesopotamia, cuneiform tablets that describe a primordial being cast down, similar to Lucifer. Even in Israel, inscriptions that reference the morning star in contexts older than the Bible. They hid this from you, but the stones speak. The evidence survived in earth and stone. You can visit these places, touch the same surfaces that ancient pilgrims touched when they remembered the first light. It's not myth. It's memory etched in rock. Why does this matter? Because faith grounded in history is unshakable. If Lucifer's story left marks on the planet, then your spiritual battle isn't just in your mind, it's in the very soil you walk on. You were made for this truth, to connect heaven and earth. These traces are God's way of saying, I didn't erase the evidence. I left it for seekers like you, but here's the cliffhanger. Not everyone wants you to find these traces. Opposition arose fierce, violent opposition that tried to bury it all. And the reason will chill you. Stay with me. The suppression is about to be exposed. The opposition. Who tried to hide this? Early church councils, Nicaea, Laodicea, that declared apocryphal texts heretical. Bishops who ordered bonfires of books that mentioned Lucifer's primacy. Inquisitors who tortured mystics for speaking of the first light. Why such fear? Because if Lucifer was created first, it challenges doctrines of divine omnipotence and human centrality. It introduces doubt, and doubt to institutions is a threat. They hid this from you to maintain control. The evidence survived despite their efforts, but at a cost: blood, ash, silenced voices. You're hearing this today because those voices echo through time, demanding to be heard. They didn't want you to know because knowledge is power, the power to question, to seek directly, to bypass gatekeepers. This isn't ancient history, it's a pattern that continues. Modern academia often dismisses these texts as fringe. Theologians avoid them for fear of controversy. But you're different. You feel the urgency. Now you know what they feared. The question is, what will you do? Your decision in the next moment could alter your spiritual path forever. Because the final revelation is coming and it requires action. Your decision. You stand at a crossroads. Accept this ancient truth and Genesis transforms from a simple origin myth into a cosmic epic where you have a role. Reject it and stay within safe, sanitized walls. But your soul didn't come here for safety. You were made for this truth. It's why you've listened this far. The call is urgent. Live with this knowledge. Share it with those who hunger. Dive deeper into forbidden texts. Let it reshape your prayer, your understanding of evil and grace. They hid this from you, but you found it. Now what? The evidence survived for you. If this revelation is reshaping how you see the sacred and you want more forgotten texts and forbidden histories uncovered, say it in the comments and follow this channel. Your support is what makes the next revelations possible. This isn't passive learning, it's an activation. Your choice matters because truths buried for millennia need carriers. And you might be one. But wait. There's one final piece, a secret so profound it ties everything together. The last veil is about to lift, the final unveiling. Why God created Lucifer first, the ancient truth that rewrites all of Genesis. Here it is. Lucifer was the first because love requires a first beloved. God, in his loneliness of perfection, desired relationship. So he fashioned a being of pure light to share in his joy. But love, to be real, must be free. Lucifer chose to turn away, and in that turning, God's heart broke, and creation became a story of redemption. Genesis isn't just about Adam, it's about God's response to loss. You are part of that response. The first light fell so that a new light could rise in you. This truth doesn't diminish God, it magnifies his depth. The evidence survived to show you your fallings, your risings are mirrored in the cosmos. You were made for this truth because you are the second chance, the humanity born from divine grief and hope. They hid this from you to protect you from the weight, but you can bear it. You must, because now you know. The morning star's fall was the dawn of your salvation. Go live in that light. Share this revelation. The story isn't over. It's just beginning for you.